LeBron now is not the LeBron that was a couple years ago. So it's a big difference. So
if I had a super team too, I would win too, you know?
I mean, I tell him the same thing. Like, if I go 5 for 20, like, we get blown
You
out.
guys could start out 0 for 2 and the team's up by 6 and it'll be like 0 for 2 up 6. Must be nice. Like,
I'm probably the most hated guy in the league. I don't know why.
I think Joel Embiid just answered his own question, because if he wants to know why he's the most hated player in the NBA, he just needs to read a single quote of his. Just one. Like one of his recent quotes where he said he could have been the GOAT if not for injuries. And I could have been LeBron James if I was 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical. But we live in reality, and in this reality, you can't talk about being the GOAT of a sport when you haven't even made it past the second round. And the rest of the quote is just as bad, where he talks about how he could have been the GOAT if it weren't for people falling on his knee or breaking his face. Do you know why this is so bad? Because Joel Embiid has done both of these things to other players. He ended his teammate Danny Green's career by flopping and falling on his knee. He ended Mitchell Robinson's season last year by pulling his leg from the ground. He has hit countless players in the face, kicked players in the nether region, fallen on top of teammates and opponents. Pretty much any form of flopping or dirty plays Joel Embiid has done. In fact, Joel Embiid has more flagrant fouls than Draymond Green. More flagrant fouls than Draymond Green. And this doesn't make him any less of a great player. But the problem with Joel Embiid is, this makes him a hypocrite. And this right here is the problem with Joel Embiid. It's not the fact he's a serial choker or has underperformed every season of his career. It's the fact he speaks about his career like he hasn't underperformed every single postseason of his career. Let's just take the quote about Jason Tatum, for example. Well, if I was on a super team, I could shoot 5 of 20 and we'd still win. Okay, well, Jason Tatum wasn't playing on a super team last year, and funny enough, you actually matched up against him in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semi-finals, a chance to make your first conference finals against a player who you claim you are so much better than. Well, in that game, Jason Tatum finished with 51 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and shot 60% from the field. Joel Embiid finished that game with 15 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and shot 5 of 18 from the field. So I guess he's kinda right, because he shot 5 of 18 and the 76ers were blown out. But the problem is, most MVP level players, most players who think they were a GOAT level talent, like LeBron or MJ or Kobe or Shaq, if they shoot 5 of 18 in a Game 7 and get outperformed by a peer in such a dramatic way, I promise you their first thought isn't, oh, if I had a better team, we still could have won. No, if you were better, your team could have won. And the problem is, this isn't a one-off. Joel Embiid has been awful every single season of his career when it has mattered most. Because over the course of Joel's career, he has played in 11 elimination games. And well, you can see for yourself, it's been pretty much disastrous across the board. Just to put into perspective how bad this is, he averaged 35 points in this year's regular season, and has averaged a combined 30 in the 3 seasons prior to that. Yet he's only exceeded 31 points once in 11 elimination games, and this was following a game in which he was bailed out by Tyrese Maxey, turning into Allen Iverson, the exact kind of thing that he and Sixers fans claim never happens. And it goes so much deeper than just scoring, because sure, Embiid has had some bad luck with injuries, but he has found so many different ways to lose when it matters that I just can't give him a complete pass because of injuries. Because it's one thing to be injured, but that can't excuse an NBA record 16 turnovers in 2 games against the Atlanta Hawks in 2021. Yes, 16 turnovers across the last 2 games of that series, which I'm sure you don't remember because all of the blame was on Ben Simmons blowing an open layup. And you want to guess who shifted that blame to Ben Simmons following the loss?
Man, I'll be honest. I thought the turning point was, I don't know how to say it, but I thought the turning point was just, we had an open shot, and we made one free throw.
This is why Joel Embiid is a fraud, because immediately his first thought is to throw someone else under the bus, despite being the star of the team and setting an NBA record for turnovers. And apparently it was Ben Simmons who lost them the game, not Embiid, who had the ball with 50 seconds remaining and the game separated by 4 points. He's matched up against 50-year-old Danilo Gallinari, and take a guess what happens.
Spins, lost the handle, Gallinari got a piece. Up is Gallinari, down it goes.
So please tell me more about how Ben Simmons lost you that game, and not you getting stripped by a 40-year-old Danilo Gallinari who had the lateral quickness of Hubie Brown. And that wasn't it, because it's one thing to turn the ball over. If you want to talk about choking, let's go back to Game 4 of that Hawks series with the Sixers up 2-1 and a chance to effectively put the series to bed. Joel Embiid went 0 for 12 in that second half. That is not a typo. 0 for 12. Do you want to hear who made more field goals than Embiid in that half? Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, Furkan Korkmaz, Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Dwight Howard, and even Ben Simmons. Yet he will tell you the only reason the 76ers have not won a championship is because of injuries and his teammates. And the funniest thing about Embiid is he's already tried to start the excuses with Team USA before the tournament has even started.
LeBron now is not the LeBron that was a couple years ago. So it's a big difference. So the names are there on paper, but yeah, those names have been built throughout their career, and now they're older, so they're not what they used to be.
Now let's go back to his initial statement about how he could have been the GOAT. Well, right now you are playing with someone who many consider to be the GOAT, a 39-year-old version of that guy. Someone who you just said was not the same player he once was. And yet, despite not being the best version of LeBron James, and being closer to 50 than 25, you have been outplayed by him every single game, whilst in the middle of your prime on a team that when you joined, everyone said you were the best player on. And at no point during these games for Team USA has anyone thought to themselves, oh, this is why Joel Embiid is one of the 10 greatest players ever. No, we've all thought to ourselves, this is why Steph Curry and LeBron James are 2 of the greatest ever. And this is why Team USA needs Kevin Durant. And do you want to know what truly tells me the level Joel Embiid is at? Despite the regular season numbers and the undeniable skill, which we should all be able to acknowledge, no one thinks the 76ers are gonna win the title this year. Yet if you pair Tyrese Maxey and Paul George with prime LeBron, prime Steph, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, all these players who he thinks he's better than or as good as, every single one of them would be championship favorites by a mile. Yet no one is taking Philadelphia serious, and I don't have any hate towards Joel Embiid, even though it might sound like that from this video, but I truly don't hate the guy. What I do hate is how he talks like he's the greatest player ever and better than his contemporaries, but has done nothing to suggest that is true. Maybe it's because of injuries and bad luck, but even if that's the case, you don't get to then say you are better than the guys who have proven it. That's just not how it works.